budget-friendly, fast, and super delicious weeknight meal. Welcome to Eat Smart, where I show you how to cook the delicious food you love to eat using clean, wholesome ingredients. Feel energized and good in your body again? Let me show you how. Tonight is something super special. We are making hamburger pie. What is hamburger pie? Well, let me tell you. Basically, we're gonna saute some ground beef with some veggies, and then we are gonna top it with some eggs that we've whisked up to incorporate a lot of air, and we add a little bit of mayo in there, which is the secret ingredient to keep them nice and moist and fluffy. We top it with some sliced tomatoes to make it super pretty, and then we bake it, and when it comes out, you can slice it perfectly into wedges. This is a perfect, super fast, healthy, and budget-friendly meal. Let me show you how I made it. I'm slicing one small tomato into nice thin slices. This will be perfect to put on the top. It'll give a really nice pop of color. Feel free to leave out the tomatoes if you don't have any or just don't want to put them on. Next, I'm using 2 garlic cloves. When you have a new bulb like this, sometimes it's easy to just put the knife in there and just pop a clove right out. I'm gonna be mincing these cloves. If you're using garlic that's already pre-chopped, I'd say this is about maybe 3 teaspoons of garlic. Next, for the eggs, go ahead and crack your eggs into a bowl. I'm using this measuring cup that has a pouring spout. It'll just make it easier to pour it onto the ground beef later. So I'm cracking all 5 eggs. And then I'm gonna whisk it really, really well. The key here to having really fluffy eggs after we bake them is incorporating a ton of air. So go ahead and whisk away, whisk for at least 1 to 2 minutes. Next is my secret ingredient. I am using mayonnaise. Before you say, ew, this is gross, please try it. The oil in the mayonnaise and the flavor of the mayonnaise impart perfectly into these eggs and just keep the eggs super moist and super fluffy and keep them from not drying out. Note here that the mayonnaise won't completely incorporate. You'll have little bits in the egg after you whisk it, but don't worry, it'll all combine once it's baked. I'm also adding a 1/4 cup of almond milk. This will also ensure that the eggs don't get too firm after we bake them. Next is the ground beef. I'm using 1 pound of ground beef, and this is 85/15, so 15% fat. Because there's a high amount of fat, I'm not adding any oil into the pan. The fat that comes out of the ground beef will be enough. Then we have the garlic and some black pepper. Add that in along with a teaspoon of mustard powder, a teaspoon of garlic and onion powder, and then I'm using about 1/8 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes just for some extra flavor. Mix it around. And you do not want to fully cook this in this step, just shy of fully done. It will finish cooking in the oven, and we don't want it to be overdone after we cook it in the oven. I'm using a 2-quart casserole dish, and I'm lightly greasing it with avocado oil. So now we're gonna put the ground beef in the dish. And then just spread that out evenly in an even layer. Pour on the eggs, try to pour them evenly. And then to help everything settle, just give that pan a little jiggle and a tap. Next, I'm placing those tomatoes on for garnish. I just love the pop of red against the yellow. I think it's gorgeous. You could also use like bell peppers or mushrooms on top. And that's it, super simple, 375 degrees for about 25 minutes. At 25 minutes, I took the lid off. We wanna make sure we're cooking this with the lid on. I took the lid off and I checked to see if it was done. It was not done at 25 minutes. I cooked it for about 6 more minutes. We want it to be slightly jiggly in the center, otherwise it'll be overcooked and dry out. This has rested for about 10 minutes just to make it easier to cut. And let's go ahead and with a little spatula, I'm gonna loosen the pie from the edges. And now I'm gonna cut a slice. And look at that. Look at how gorgeous. What a simple recipe, but it's definitely a showstopper. And for some additional color and a little bit of a crunch, I am just putting some scallions on. This is totally optional, and I was lazy, so I just got out the kitchen shears and I'm just snipping them on. Time for the taste. Oh boy, this is for sure a winner. The ground beef is seasoned perfectly, and the egg just envelops the ground beef, and it's very fluffy. The egg is almost creamy because we put the mayonnaise in there. And then we have the tomato on top, which is that bright burst of color and a little bit of sweet flavor. You all have to try this. If you'd like, give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments how you went on by making this. Yum!